Bam! We are recording for sure. I'm seeing the red dot on. It is recording. All right.
Nope, nope. I'm not gonna open up with that. It sounded great at first, but then it'd been like people be like, "What the hell is going on here?"
All right. So we have a bit of a like a podcasty discussion type of a thing going on with this Let's Talk. Me and Frostbite. Welcome in, Frostbite. Special guest here today. So I finished up Dark Souls 1 and let me bring it over to the screen here. So I finished up Dark Souls 1 and I had this like kind of thing that I was thinking of to myself. I'm like, has Dark Souls kind of peaked? So this is Dark Souls 1, this is the DLC, Night Notorious. This is something that you would have to buy, but if you have the remaster version, it comes with it. So it's kind of I do like the way that they did this. They kind of mixed it in with the full on storyline and everything. That was cool, and like this whole
I
forest.
never, I never fought him. Like I even went over there, beat that Hydra, walked back there where that portal was supposed to be, and the portal wasn't there. So
You must not have the DLC installed then. I'm thinking because
but I had the
that
remastered
was.
edition.
Oh, okay. Well then, yeah, it should have. Unless you're missing, I don't know. Because that when I ran back to two, I was like, is this actually going to be there? I had heard the story of Knight Artorias. I was like, he sounds really cool, so I want to go fight him at least once. I just want to see what he looks like and everything. And if you notice, the jacket that I have on this also is actually the Bloodborne outfit. Um, the weapons that we're both using in this, me and the boss fight, is very muchly weapons that you find in all the Dark Souls games. So this is one of the things I started seeing like as I
Hold
started
on.
progressing through.
What was that fucking Dark Knight Notorious or some shit?
Yeah. Let's go to, but yeah, as I started like progressing through the storyline and everything, I started to kind of notice something, and it was that a lot of the stuff that is in Elden Ring appears in Dark Souls 1, 2, and 3. Especially Dark Souls 1 and 3. Elden Ring takes a lot of stuff from that. On top of that, Bloodborne, like the jacket for Bloodborne here is actually, like they were working on Bloodborne way back in Dark Souls 1 remastered, and they brought it into, they made a whole game out of Bloodborne and everything. Again, if you don't want spoilers, don't look away and everything. Come back later on after you've beaten the game and everything. But yeah, I think at this point, Dark Souls games have been out for so long and everybody's talked about them so much that you probably see them at least once. So what I started kind of coming up with a conclusion in my head of like, and this was happening on stream, and I hinted at it a little bit on stream, but I'm kind of wondering, has Dark Souls peaked? That's the big major thing of this video. Has Dark Souls actually maybe peaked? Has Miyazaki done kind of all the ideas that he has wanted to come up with or has come up with over the years, and now he's just kind of like Elden Ring feels like this feels like one of the levels in Elden Ring right here with the knights and all that stuff. Um, Including some of the weapons that you find too. And what I'm seeing the boss fight in this though. I mean, this is the Elden Lord. This is what was the guy's name? Gwen Artur not no. Gwyn is Godfrey. There we go. Godfrey. The Elden Lord Godfrey there, right? Gwyn is basically just that. He is the Lord of the Cinder, I do believe, or Lord of the Light, or whatever they call him in Dark Souls 1. Like, there's no, if you notice too, there's no cutscene going into this. It's just bing, bang, boom. You jump in there. He flies around a little bit and this and that. It's very similar, just, I don't know, fight structure and everything. And he also kind of looks like the first Elden Lord. So again, when I was going through this, it was just like this whole thing of like Miyazaki seems to be like Elden Ring is a compilation almost of all the ideas that he did through Dark Souls 1, 2, and 3. Um, Not really Bloodborne. Bloodborne doesn't really show up in Elden Ring, but just I don't know. Has this like Miyazaki and the From Software team peaked with the Souls games of now that they're making compilations, and also Armored Core 6 is looking to be almost like a compilation of all the Armored Core games too. So do we see it kind of go downhill of after the whatever the next From Software game is, like Armored Core 6? Do we start to see like the next Souls game is just like another compilation game? Do we see something brand new pop out? We see Bloodborne come up? Like,
Like I like when I asked you for that guy's name, looked him up, take a look at him, and then I went and looked at the. I was thinking like, God, he kind of looks like the Watchdogs of Pharaon from 3. But then I went and looked at the Watchdogs of Pharaon, and it's like, no, the Watchdogs look definitely more Bloodborne esque than like a Torius. I'm trying to figure out which one a Torius kind of looked like, and he's like a mix of between that and almost like the dancer. I want to say from 3.
hmm. See, my problem is I haven't fully
The
played.
dancer's fucking huge
Yeah,
compared to that.
like I haven't fully played through 2 and 3, so there's probably going to be a lot of people like, "Well, you haven't finished 2 and 3 yet. What the hell?" I'm
See, to
just
tell you the truth, you can probably skip 2 because 2's a fucking nightmare.
yeah. That's what everybody always says. Is 2 is the worst Dark Souls game. But it just like it's just what does he where does From Software go with Souls games after this, after Elden Ring?
I
It's like, is it
don't
Bloodborne?
know.
Like, is it Victorian age stuff we get out of the whole realm? Because Bloodborne, I mean, that's probably one of the reasons why Bloodborne is everybody's favorites, really Souls, or From Software game overall, because it is so different. It's not just D&D mixed with medieval stuff and everything. It's actually like Gothic, Victorian, the blood, the alien stuff and everything mixed in with it. I mean, in all
Very
honesty, that's where people would probably like it to go. Is back to that. It's like,
and a lot of the weapons feel like pretty much kind of still medieval primitive-ish, but then you got they switch into different things. Like you got the hell was it? Your cane sword.
yeah,
It goes from a cane to a
yep.
whip.
I feel like the weapons feel
The crook
like
hammer goes from a you know, pointy dagger thing to a giant ass hammer.
yeah, yeah, like that's and I actually I love that on all the weapons, because you could actually start doing combos with all the weapons and everything. Um, but that's also where I'm like, man, so if like Elden Ring definitely has pretty much all of your Dark Souls weapons are there. Um, but then it's like, okay, so if they go back to Bloodborne, so could the next From Software game be after? So it's Armored Core 6, we know, but could we see like Bloodborne remastered, in which that's the thing that everybody, as soon as I say what's From Software do up next, it's going to be Bloodborne remastered, Bloodborne 2. That's what everybody's going to be first thing everybody out of everybody's mouth is that, because everybody just really wants to see Bloodborne get made decently. It barely runs at 30. It's ah
I almost want to say maybe take what made Bloodborne good, take what made Dark Souls good, maybe and take the open world aspect, potentially take the open world aspect of Elden Ring, mash it all together. So you got your Victorian style weaponry and probably a lot of that clothing, the probably more Dark Soulsy bosses, and probably take both of the concepts of the medieval stuff and the Victorian stuff for the world building and sort of kind of like mash it that together. Like one half of the game's medieval stuff and then you go into the Victorian stuff, or it's just in and out of the worlds. Like maybe you're jumping back and forth between worlds, like through a rift or some crap. I don't know. I had a whole thought process there, and it just you just see how south that went real quick.
So when it comes to the Elden Ring thing, I've heard a lot of people say they wouldn't want to see Bloodborne in an open world where it's like Elden Ring. But they do like a lot of the Elden Ring, like I think the magic system in Elden Ring mixed with the melee that works really well. I think what you could end up doing is also the shooting mechanics and the weapon switching from Bloodborne works really well. If you took so you actually you have a solid idea there. Um, take so there's two factions that are running, each piece of land or something. One faction is medieval, one faction is more of like, so it's the world itself could be the very gothic kind of Victorian world like Bloodborne had, because that's a little bit different than Elden Ring, than the Dark Souls stuff that we've seen time and time and time again. It makes it slightly more modern, but then you have these holdouts that are still in the old medieval ways, and then you have the newer breed that's more the Bloodborne ways. That could be a really cool, mix mash of everything. Also, I mean, it's still compilation though. So
You got like your
what's
knights, your mages, and then your hunters.
yeah, yeah. So and the
And
juntas.
we'll probably put the holy group up there too. Gotta have the 4 point trifecta there.
Like I'm sitting there, I'm watching. Funny enough, like I'm sitting there watching Vox Machina, and you have the one that's shooting the fucking gun off. I'm just like,
Mm-hmm.
imagine. So you I don't know. So you do like a spell over top of your gun, and then all of a sudden you have all the magic stuff that you do in Elden Ring, but then you can just shoot a fucking a bullet off with that type of.
You can almost do it yeah, to make the bullets elemental based or spell
Yeah,
based.
yeah, like
Well, like that specific class or weapon type, you have to have bullets for, and that could be like instead of having your grenades and stuff like that, maybe you have to be part of that particular faction to be able to use that. Like each faction has their own particular
I would
weapon
I
that
was
only that
almost.
faction can use, unless you fucking have like you do something special in the game that's gonna be a total pain in the dick.
I guess the big question would be is like how many factions would we want to see in something like that, because then you would end up having, like I said, the hunters versus the what would it be, the tarnished versus the hunters. um
Tarnish, you got the fucking
Tarnish is more primeval, where the hunters are more like trying to advance technology.
what the hell is it? You're tarnished. You're fucking this fucking extra crispy. You're hollow. Uh, you're a hunter.
It's like so here's the other one. What From Software goes modern with it, a modern day Soulsy type of game, how would that look? I mean, in my brain, I can't help but to think of like Devil May Cry, but with Souls combat. Would it work?
Well, you know what? Go ahead. We'll do a vote. Put it down there in chat. We'll take a vote on that. What are your opinions on it?
It's like I don't
I
know. It's like
because it's always been this older timey stuff. Hell, even Sekiro does like older Japan, feudal Japan kind of stuff. You don't really have any.
I mean,
Probably the most futuristic thing you have in the entire game series is probably out of Bloodborne with the guns.
so on top of that, on top of this topic too, one thing that I actually wanted to talk about, I was going to make a separate video on this, but this is actually a perfect time to actually bring it up. How long before Souls game or Souls genre like games start to become a little bit played out? This game is an upcoming one called Wolong. It's going to be on Game Pass. If you have Game Pass on the PC, you can actually check it out. We already had hands on with it with a full on beta and everything. It plays a lot like Sekiro, but it also plays a lot like a Souls game. I would almost say it's even more like a Souls game than Sekiro, because you use a lot more of elemental attacks. Like your whole thing is it's Chinese mythology in this. Where so that's like the earth elemental that I just use to power up with a little bit to try and get some health back. When you get into, oh yeah, actually the bird is a pretty good example. So you can light things on fire, you're using water, you're using earth, you're using electricity, all that stuff to end up fighting all these different creatures with. Again, though, it is very Souls like. So
Yeah, and that boss alone, I definitely got some very Souls slash Bloodborne esque
exactly.
vibes from that bird there.
And then when, oh boy, when you get to the final boss fight, it's so the final boss fight of this area is like, okay, do I use earth? Do I use fire? You can shotgun them in the face with fire and everything, but it comes down to this. This is where it's the Sekiro kind of aspect comes into play. So it's not about the stamina bar, but it's about the reading the opponent and figuring out the, do I jump over the attack? Do I get out of the way of the attack? Do I use my elemental to smack him to try and stagger him? So it's a little bit of a little bit of everything being mixed together. This is not from software. This is the team that made Neo. Again, it goes
Speaking of
back.
jumping, if they do another Bloodborne esque, another Bloodborne or freaking Dark Souls combo, whatever. I don't know about that jump in Elden Ring. That I mean, you brought the open world concept. Yes, jumping is typically a thing in open world games. With that, you don't have a jump button in an open world game. You're just kind of like, what the fuck? But at the same time,
Yeah,
it threw a lot of us off because we're like, this is Dark Souls. We have one jump button. You use it maybe 5 or 6 times in the entire game to jump a small gap to get to an item or something.
yeah. It's like instead of having like a dedicated jump button, it's almost like a little feature that's on the side.
Yeah.
That's more or less the Dark Souls feel. Like Elden Ring felt kind of weird in that aspect of like I can actually jump, but
Myself jumping so many times, like jumping backwards versus actually rolling away in fights because it's like, oh, I
so
can jump.
so again, to go with the whole like if From Software went modern day with it, again, this is another third party developer that is making something that's not From Software, that is making another Soulsy like game, that is set a little bit more modern day. So how many of these games come out before people start going, I'm sick of Souls games?
Yeah.
I think that's the reason why, like, Armored Core, even though everybody's like, what the fuck, it's Armored Core, what the hell? I think for those folks that are saying that, I'm gonna say it's kind of good. I think it's a good thing that they're coming out with Armored Core.
Yeah.
I'm not the biggest Armored Core fan. I almost could give two shits about Armored Core, but
It's
it's a good thing to get away from Souls to make you want more of
yeah.
that.
I was gonna
Yeah,
make the conclusion like you've got this big bar of chocolate here. You keep eating the freaking chocolate. Eventually, that chocolate's gonna be like it's not as good
exactly.
as that first bite, and then you're gonna get tired of chocolate for a while. Same thing with the Dark Souls. You go, oh my god, how many different variations of Dark Souls games do we have? Off in the main thing, you got the Neo series. You got
This is another one, Steel
I'm
Rising.
stepping away from yeah, I'm
It's,
stepping completely away from FromSoft. We already know the FromSoft titles on it. Like you got the Neo, you got the Mortal Shell, you got Steel Rising, Dimesia.
the what
There's like a few others.
the robot
Oh,
one there. I forget what the hell it's called. I always forget the name of it.
oh, I know exactly which one you're
Yeah.
talking about, and I can't even think off the top of my head either.
uh,
'Cause I beat the first one, and I got hung up on the second one. Um, and God, damn, you totally made me throw Lords of the Fallen.
oh
That's another
yeah,
one.
that's another Lords of Fallen. Yes, absolutely. It's and that's why I'm like, okay, so like this one here is about steampunk. There's another one. Let's see here. Thymesia is about what was the Thymesia about? It was something like the whole land. They're in a tree or some shit like that. Thymesia was a weird ass storyline. Thymesia. It did work. God damn it, YouTube. It did work though for the most part. So we have yeah, and then another one. I also kind of going in with the Steel Rising. This is going to be another one that is a little more almost like Final Fantasy s. It's like Final Fantasy meets Souls, with Liza P. This is another game that's coming up. that is another third party developer, and this is all about
That
Pinocchio's
one does
storyline.
look really good though.
So the little bit of a difference on this one though is you're also doing like puzzly type of shit in it. So it actually feels almost like it's definitely Bloodborne as fuck vibes going through it. But I think that's just because it's Victorian, and this is why I'm saying like I think From Software should actually look at the Victorian age or a modern age even and do the Devil May Cry route because it's enough to keep people going. Okay, it's another Souls game, but this theme and the weapons that they got in there and everything, like you could. I don't know. If you modernize it, you can kind of get away with doing a little bit different weapons than the medieval stuff. Because medieval, if it's like if it's Dark Souls 4, let's say, and it's medieval times, you know what weapons are going to be there. It's going to be your katana. It's going to be your steel sword, your steel knight sword. It's going to be the shield. It's going to be, but then okay, we bring it over to Bloodborne or something like Lies of P here. It's a little bit different of a different combat aspect. We have a little bit more magic we're pulling in there, where we have a little more like blades that are transforming because we are in that little bit farther ahead timeline and everything. Um, sure, again, it's still soulsy, but I think if they do that, they can kind of get away with it. If they just keep,
If you're still running, sorry,
yeah, no, go ahead.
I just stole your thunder there. No, I was gonna say if you're still rolling that stuff in the background about the different Dark Souls s
Hmm.
games, I sent you a. I found it. It's called the Surge.
Yeah, the surge.
Found my Let's Talk or Game Talk about it.
And like this is so actually it's modern day take on a Souls game. This is kind of it also is like, but oh, actually, this brings up. It is good that I'm bringing this up because that's another system. Would we want to see From Software adopt the whole thing of like having to beat up arms and legs and all that stuff? Like, does that also separate the kind of the same formula? Does it separate it enough from that same formula all over again? You know, it's you,
That was a pretty fun part about the Surge though was the fact that to get the better armor and stuff, you literally hacked off limbs that had what you wanted attached and to get it.
it's like if you're looking for the upgrade material, I wonder if Miyazaki would actually go for that. It's like you're trying to get that one drop to happen, and it's like that 2% drop, and you have to keep fucking farming those enemies over and over and over and over and over again until you actually get the drop to happen. In this one, it's kind of like you just hack the thing off from it. So it's like, would
The
Miyazaki go for it?
Bloodborne. This one, some of the weapons had that Bloodborne act thing too, where the weapon would split
Yeah,
into the kind of like trick
was
weapon
it
thing.
transformation or whatever?
Yeah,
It's like weapon
as you see there,
transformation.
it's an axe and a hammer, and then as I'm comboing, it splits into a straight up axe and a hammer, not just a two hander. Sorry, the God dang, the video quality on this is so trash. This is back in the day when I was first getting into the whole streaming thing.
Actually, wait. I don't know. Bring up this, I guess. Um, but yeah, yeah. Oh, a Demon Souls 2. Would that even be?
I mean, I don't even know because Demon Souls was initially the start of the Dark Souls.
I think if they did Demon Souls 2, that would be the next compilation of all the From Software stuff. Like Elden Ring. Elden Ring was, like I said, it felt like Elden Ring was that compilation of everything that they had done, from Demon Souls on up. The other one is also like,
I mean, that's
uh,
kind of hard to do another Demon Souls when Demon Souls was the initial Dark Souls game. At each, I think in theory, all the Dark Souls games are connected. They're just different worlds, so to speak,
it's
worlds that have been gone to chaos because the gods or done did just like, all right, you know what, screw this.
I
I'm gonna
definitely
do what I want, and it throws everything into chaos.
I definitely see like Dark Souls 1 is 100%. It has to be connected to Elden Ring. I don't think we have any official confirmation on that, but I would definitely say like fucking eh, like Dark Souls 1 and Elden Ring there's so many connections that should be there officially, but that's just like I think
Well, yeah,
this
because
works
you're
together.
going around, you're getting seals to put the seals back together. Dark Souls 1, you gotta go ring the bells and then defeat the four lords. Dark Souls 2, I believe it is, that you gotta go take all the lords of Cinder down
Yep.
and get their ashes to beat the big bad and restore order or become the big bad. That's always been the thing too. Is Dark Souls games, they have like 3, 4 different freaking endings depending on how what choices you make throughout the
Which
game.
I don't mind that. I kind of like that you have that, morale. I'm a big sucker for morality choices, like I love Mass Effect and all
Three
that. So,
three was the Cinder, not two. That's how much I remember of two.
yeah. Yeah. Well, it's like I said, you're not
I
alone.
played through it like
I mean,
once, and I was like, okay, I'm
you're
done.
not alone.
I
Like,
tried doing the DLC for it, and I fucking beat my head off a
fucking
wall.
everybody hates Dark Souls too.
Ugh. I only did the Old Iron Keep DLC for two. And the Fume Knight
You,
was a
you have
nightmare.
disappeared into the ether. um,
Oh, sorry, I moved out of the camera. I leaned over.
he's not used to being on camera.
I'm
He's
not.
shy.
Like I still have to figure out how to get my camera to actually have my face cam going while I'm recording videos for YouTube. Which I got a couple ideas
So I guess
coming up, but
I guess that's kind of like where the thought train is at, though. Is
and here you go too, right here. Here's a good example in Bloodborne. Like you went and this is like what in game pretty much here where everything's on
yeah,
fire.
yeah, yeah. This is
What happens in Elden Ring? Towards in game, you burn the damn tree down. Everything gets lit on fire.
yeah.
Just essentially, it's kind of like, well, as you see here, the symbolism of the fire is the fire destroys, and creates life anew.
Like the first the
Sorry, Vati. I had to.
I mean, when you actually beat the first game, also is like the ending of the first game is literally you light the Firelink shrine together. If I can actually find the damn thing, where is it? Yeah, right here. Like you basically burn away the darkness and all that stuff. And I'm just like, wait a second. So there's one ending. I think it's the ending for the second one was where you like sit down and you become like the lord of everyone or some shit like that. This one is just like you either become the dark lord and you keep the nightmare going of everything, or you light yourself on fire and just burn away all the darkness and sacrifice yourself. Basically, this is Mass Effect 3's ending right here.
Oh God, no! I'm not gonna go there because then technically, in gamer theory, if you become the Dark Lord for Dark Souls, you become the Lord of Cinders. You're fighting yourself as the Lord of Cinders in 3.
Hmm. So I don't mind that spoiler because it technically is not a spoiler of my playthroughs because I didn't go with the Dark Lord. I was playing as the good guy. Um,
Well,
that's
essentially the final boss in 3 is he's got you. I think you saw me beat it, or did you take off?
I probably took off because I don't think I've seen the Dark Souls 3 boss. I haven't seen any of
Got
the
like
final bosses for Dark Souls games.
two health bars,
I
and he
was like,
changes weapon types out
oh
constantly.
great.
And you do so much damage to him. Yeah, it's actually not that hard of a fight, to be honest.
So, going forward for From Software, do you think it's going to be Bloodborne that they're gonna go back into to try and keep the souls? Because we know that there's going to be most likely the Armored Core thing, and then they're probably going to do. I mean, hopefully they do a Bloodborne remaster with this. just to appease like the 90% of fan base that's just like, please give us this at 60 FPS and give us a PC port. Like everybody just really wants to mod this and everything. Everybody wants to make it look and play as cool and as smooth as it can possibly do. Which I'm like, absolutely.
No,
It
he
takes
just needs to
Sony.
go. He needs,
Um,
he needs to take that other idea and make the Bloodborne cart game. Everybody will be like, "What the fuck?" And then everybody will be like,
it just piss everyone off.
It'll be the waiting lobby for
Exactly,
the next
exactly. That'd be the
console.
waiting room for the next actual Souls game.
I could. I don't know if there's even a point in doing. I don't. From after getting like I platinumed out Bloodborne
Like sales
and
wise, I could easily see it.
Bloodborne 2, you could probably your sales would probably go through the fucking roof because how much everybody loved
Even
Bloodborne.
remaster, like you do realize, like Bloodborne, out of all the Souls games that they put out, even Elden Ring, Bloodborne is still, it comes up trending almost every other week on Twitter in one way or one form or another. Anytime they say anything on Twitter about Elden Ring, everybody's like, "Where the fuck is Bloodborne? Where's Bloodborne remastered? We need it." It's like,
What it is because you look at Dark Soul. You take your Dark Souls, like your combat and how almost clunky your character is. But then again, you're thinking you're in gothic medieval kind of shit. You're wearing armor
I mean,
and big heavy weapons and stuff. So it's realistically you should be clunky.
Dark Souls 3 was pretty smooth. I think it was just a game engine for a lot of that, but
Like to feel the character. It feels like
you got weight.
they should be moving like that because of the shit they're wearing.
Yeah.
And then you got Bloodborne over here where your guy's wearing like nothing.
I'm wearing a leather coat and I am fucking zooming. Like I'm definitely noticing that right now compared to Dark Souls 1 and what you're seeing in this gameplay here. I am fucking zooming around that. That's why I was having so much fun because I could just move. I could just bounce all over the place in Bloodborne. I'm like, this is fucking fun as all hell. But that's the reason why people love this game so much. Also, Dark Souls 3 had a little bit, but you know the other difference too is that
there we go. We'll say, I don't know. Can we say stiff on YouTube anymore? I mean, there's a lot of words that we can't say on YouTube anymore. He said stiffy.
Yeah. If you went to stiffy, let me tell you.
Okay, well, when we go through this edit, that you just gotta put a
I don't monetize my videos anyways. It's all good. So just don't pull out a stiffy on video. Then we might have some trouble.
What about you like that side boob?
So that's because that's that's where everybody's like, okay, so Blue Point, after doing Demon Souls and they did it justice, like they should probably get Bloodborne, and then the actual core from software team that Miyazaki's working on right now is Armored Core, and then what's their next project after that? And that's,
I almost kind of want to say like, hey, Miyazaki, give them give Blue Point a shot, like give them a because they already know how kind of like the Bloodborne or not the Bloodborne, but the Souls games work because they did the remaster of
Demon Souls.
Demon Souls,
yeah.
Yes, totally blew my mind. Because they know how to do that. Why not give after they're done whatever big secret project they're working on right now? Miyazaki, give them a shot. Like, hey, here's a basic storyline. Like, this is the big bad, and this is why the world's gone to chaos. Da 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 da. Here you go.
For like an original.
From there, go for it.
For original game or
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
like,
sure.
Do what you, maybe like don't even tell them how you want the world to, like what kind of style you want the world to be. Just be like, you've seen what we've done.
So funny enough, that's actually
there you go.
basically that's when you check out the interview with Miyazaki and Yamamura, that's kind of what Miyazaki did for Armored Core 6 with him. He was just like, okay, you worked on Sekiro, and Sekiro was a pretty damn good seller, so I'm gonna go work, because Miyazaki right now is working on something secret. We don't know what he's working on, but he started Armored Core 6, and then Yamamura took it over. basically after they got done with the planning stage of like Miyazaki's like, okay, this is what I want the world to be. This is what in my brain Armored Core should be. And then he gave me the outline pretty much, and then Yamamura came in and did all the rest of the the world building and all that stuff. From what we got
Yeah,
from
that's
the
what I'm
interview,
saying.
so Miyazaki is, I mean, he's open to that. He is definitely open to that mindset of it. Um, for a Souls
That's why I
game,
don't ever have a
I don't know, because that is kind of his
like. I
baby.
mean,
It'd be
yeah,
interesting
but he's also said that he's getting kind of bored of the Souls stuff, though. Like he's
a bit, but I mean, he's got Armored Core 6
done
that
so
he's
much
working on
with
right
it.
now, so that's what that
Yeah, that might just be the. Well, no, he's not working on that. He gave it to the other guy, so now he's over there working on something else. It's just like,
well, yeah.
I mean,
Again, that like he has to work on what sells well, and that's where it's like shit. They the Souls games do they
yeah, that's the thing too, is because everybody's gonna be like, gonna get really gonna pick up. They're gonna go watch like. Don't play this game. This game sucks. Freaking review for Armored Core 6, and like everything's like, boo. It wasn't Dark Souls or Bloodborne. Boo, boo, boo. And if you was to play it and actually kind of enjoy it, we're like, hell yeah.
that's
Either that or a lot of us Armored Core players are going to be
that
like, it's
brings
going to
up
be
yeah that brings
hit
up
or miss.
the other.
Are they going to completely on one hand, are they going to completely destroy it? Or on the other hand, is it going to be, they're going to do it justice? Or, I mean, the third hand, which I don't have here, they do some kind of weird cross over crap between the Soulsborne and Armored Core stuff, which could be fun, but at the same time, it's like how
It's funny because like Fighting Cowboy,
will we do this?
he's in the boat that is 100% because in the interview once again for the future of From Software, in that interview they said that it is not going to be a Souls core like game that was, but what Miyazaki said is that it's for storyline wise, it's not going to be Souls core. It's going to be straight up, you are the merc working for contracts to build up your Armored Core, and then you go on missions with that Armored Core. But he didn't say what the gameplay itself was. He just said that like the outline for the game is not a Souls game. It is an Armored Core game through and through. They all they said was it's fast paced combat, but modernized for newer audiences. I'm like, that's still very vague on what exactly it is. Like what?
Well, I mean, you went through it and you started playing the old Soul cores,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So you get a concept of what it's basically the same storyline all over and over again. As you're a merc, you're working with this mercenary group, and you take contracts for whoever. I wonder if they take another turn to it, where they do like the GTA style games. You know how a lot of them you had different factions you worked for, and if you worked for this faction, you pissed this faction off, kind of thing.
And yeah, I mean, absolutely. That's
that'd be kind of cool.
100%. That's actually what I was thinking is like, because they have so much more free. That was one of the things when I was running through the like Armored Core 2 and 3 especially. I was sitting there thinking to myself, I'm like, man, it's just like the amounts of stuff that they probably had to cut because they just this system memory limitations and everything of getting all these emails, going on the whole thing, and like like you could sort of do the factions thing, but not really. it's just barely there, but that's the problem I still found with Armored Cores.
Do this job, or do you want to do this
exactly
job?
And it was like, okay, so how about giving us a full-on cutscene? Maybe again, I haven't played 4 and 5, so maybe this happens in 4 and 5, but what I wanted to see out of this was give me a full-on cutscene. So if I go talk to the owner of this company or whatever that's trying to hire me for the job, whoop, they pop up on screen, they start talking to me, blah, 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 and it's not where I'm just reading through an email and then it's like, go shoot everything, and then read through next email, go shoot at everything, because that's literally all Armored Core is. You read the email, you blow some shit up, and yay, and then you read the next email, maybe go buy something, probably you're too damn poor because your Armored Core got shot the fuck up in the last mission. So then you go and shoot some more shit up, and then you read another email, and it's just like, I just feel like I'm at work right now. There's nothing keeping me invested in this, and that's what for everybody that was watching the stream, they were getting pissed off that I was saying stuff like that. I'm like, this is what you really need to worry about with the new game, though, is that it's that from side, and this the reason why we're going from Souls conversation over to Armored Core is because this Armored Core 6, this is going to be one of these things of like, this could be the first time where again, like, I don't want to jinx them. I don't want to say that From Software don't know what they're doing or anything. That's farthest thing from what I'm trying to say here, but this might be the first one that the fans, like you said, don't they're not overly hyped for. They're not, because every single thing for the last 10 years, ever since they got away from Armored Core, everything that From Software has put out, it's like bestseller, bestseller, bestseller. Everybody's all into it. Now they're trying to bring back an old formula that didn't sell well. So there's got to be something that they bring. And is this the future of where what From Software does? Is are they going to try and turn that Soulsy vibe into the Armored Core vibe and mix them together to do that? Like, that's why I keep saying, like, I feel like they have to at this point. It's been 10 years, and that's where their biggest sellers are. Is Souls games. And yeah, like, we know, like, I mean, the main discussion is, is it going to be kind of a Bloodborne? Is it going to be, what's the next actual, like, Dark Souls game itself look like? We know they're bringing back Armored Core, but does this gameplay right here have a factor into what they end up doing with the next Souls game? I mean, Souls and Armored Core, they do borrow off from one another too. Like, there's a lot of stuff that borrows, customization and building your mech up to each class and whatnot. Like, that all borrows off from one another for sure. But again, it's like, do they stick with what works, or do they bring it to more of a kind of, either the steampunk or the modern day era? What does the future of From Software look like? And are they going to be the victim of their own success in that aspect too? Because, I mean, look at Resident Evil. RE3 remake comes out, everybody's kind of just like with that one, and then Village comes out and everybody loves it all over again. Like, right now we're in this weird spot where RE4 remake is, everybody's super hyped up for it. Another one that dropped also was Callisto Protocol. It's either you love it or you hate it, and if you love it, then the ones that hate it attack you. Could that happen with the next From Software title? Could we end up having that?
So I went and looked it up real quick because I did play this game over on the Switch.
For a demo of it.
I googled it, and when it launched, it was number 4 on the Japanese charts, number 19 on UK physical charts. But Switch. Supposedly, as of October 2019, the game has sold 42,217 physical copies in Japan. That's just what Google says. But I mean, if you look at it, it doesn't. It really didn't. I can't. It's been so long I played it. Part of me wants to say it really didn't have that tank feel that you're complaining about in the core games.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, but I don't remember how much you're actually on the ground of the game. Like, I mean, it's definitely an Armored Core.
The demo of it that I played,
very Armored Core feel to it.
Yeah, this is what I remember of like what I played, when I got hands on with the demo of it. That's what I remember it being, up in the air, like this whole, like, flying around. Basically, I was just flying around, just shooting everything and just blowing everything up from air. This is a very, like, anime styled, super, like, it's almost like cell shaded almost or something, but it's like, this is basically like anime anime core. Which, again, I mean, so you bringing this up, I mean, what if Armored Core does have a little bit more of this in it, where it's like, instead of having a grounded base thing, you parry midair, and they bring it to like a midair Souls vibe going on.
Yeah, what I'm saying is, like, they took a lot of Armored Core. This is a whole different developer too that did this.
Yeah,
they took a lot of what core Armored Core was into this game. Like especially with the as you can see, you got like two shoulder weapons, your blade, and your main gun, and then like you can buy different parts for the whole thing. You can customize like even some of the internal workings of it. You can customize like your chipsets and targeting chips and all that stuff.
Again, like this is what From Software has to keep up with. You know, it's like all these different companies. It's kind of funny that like all these third party companies, or not third party, but all these different companies making games like what they've already made before, but they're making them with different themes, different ideas,
That's
different.
that's the thing too. The difference between Demon X Machina and Armored Core is though Demon X Machina was just like you're one corporation going out and doing stuff, and then like this weird crap keeps popping up, like they were all like AI. I think was like trying to take over the was going out of control kind of stuff. Where Armored Core is different just a big corporations trying to beat the crap out of each other.
It feels like there's more storyline happening in this trailer than there is all of the Armored Core games. I will say that. Um, Again, like that might also be one of the things that they might need to start doing better
There's your
too.
whole thing too. Is when you could, I think he was running around outside of the mech back there.
Yeah, and then you get this little guy also, where it's almost like it's more like a suit that you're using, which again, like that's one of those things that I've always wanted to see. That would actually be a really cool thing. Like all of a sudden, there's like this giant fucking, it looks like a giant 20-story tall, Armored Core unit comes out, and you got this little itty bitty fucking suit, and you're just trying to like, like break this
Yeah, like
do this giant
the
boss
walking
fight.
fortresses and stuff like that. You had to fight. That was kind of fun
Um,
actually.
and that's something that Anthem tried to do, but they just couldn't make it work with the game engine that they had. I mean, that it's, when the game engine looks that good, and see, that's also where it's like, what is the scale of Armored Core going to be? Because look at how good that game looks. They can get away with doing this shit on this, with even on Switch hardware. Look at the graphics. The graphics are very artsy fartsy, toned down. Like there's not a whole lot of particle effects happening with this. There's not a whole lot like um I mean, even right there, that's barely any particle effects. There's no smoke happening. There's no breakage in the level design. The textures are not the highest quality textures ever, but that's I mean, that's by art design of it, so they can actually fit it on the Switch and make it work really well. Armored Core is gonna.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at that,
Uh,
and then you look at this.
okay. They were this game. Demon X Machina was designed by Marvelous. So
I mean,
let's
look at the detail difference on this. Like, what can they actually do with this game engine? That I'm thinking this is going to be a brand new game engine. This is going to be a brand new version of the game engine that they're working with right now, because this looks way better than Elden Ring ever even thinks about looking. Like graphically wise, this is blowing fucking Elden Ring out the park. So how much can they actually do with this? If it is a new game engine and they're putting it out on all the brand new hardware and everything, then they can do a lot more with it. But again,
Marvelous. Let's see what do they fucking make.
it's like,
Uh,
I don't know. I'm like I said, this is like the main question in my brain is like, how much more does From Software have of innovation? I mean, they're going to do something. They're going to come out swinging. There's so many other companies that are doing what they do, but it's like,
okay, I see why that's coming from because Marvelous. They're behind Mandraga, Nova Antarctica, and Ninja or Die, and the wholly owned subsidiary of Tokyo-based Marvelous Incorporated developer as a beloved story of seasons known as Harvest Moon.
yeah, oh,
So they're
okay, Harvest.
they're damn near 100% freaking Nintendo
They're all anime
company.
shit.
Yeah, I mean, granted, yes, with the new technology we have nowadays compared to what we had back there, the hardware we have, the software we have. But yes, it can look really good, real realistic, or it can just turn into a big steaming pile of crap because the hardware and the software inside the consoles can't handle it.
I
Where the
will.
PC is going to be like,
Well, not even
we
not
can mod
always.
it.
Not always. So here's where the thing is too with so sometimes the game engines even on PC don't run too well. Callisto Protocol just had this problem happen. If you watch any PC gameplay of Callisto Protocol until they updated it, the it was stuttering like a motherfucker. It was
What was
bad.
Callisto Protocol running on? Was it Unreal 5, Frostbite, freaking
Um
God knows what else
that's a good
that's
question.
out
I
there
can't remember
anymore?
now. What's the game engine for it? UE4. So it's not even Unreal Engine 5, it's UE4. It looked that good on UE4. That's why I was like, fuck man, that's the power of Sony's digital arts studio that they have. Um
Here's a good question. Like, how long were we planning on going on this?
I don't know. I was trying to think of like one last big wrap up thing to talk about.
Uh,
Is like what is there anything else that we want to dive into for From Software?
what else is From Software known for aside from Armored Core and Souls?
Oh shit. What if? Okay, here's one last final thing to throw out there. What if they brought back Kingsfield? So they leave Dark Souls as a trilogy, and then they reboot Kingsfield into something that is like a modern day, something that's a little bit different, a little bit.
Another one called Another Centuries Episode. Third person shooter video game, PlayStation 2, controls a mech from 9 different anime robot franchise
Of
featuring.
course,
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
course. I know they
Battle of the
did.
Shadow Tower. Action
Oh,
oriented action oriented dungeon crawler very seems similar to Kingsfield in the first person style gameplay where the player engages in combat with enemies, searches hidden items, traps, interacts with NPCs. Lives in the holy land of Zeptar. Player takes the role as a mercenary named Roos Hardy. Returning to Zeptar, finds the entire city as well as Central Tower has been sucked into the underworld. He meets an old man and gives him the Dark One sword. Jesus Christ, why did Dark Souls?
I'm telling you,
It's like a
that's
cut. Like,
that's where I'm like,
wow, that's all they got. All they really did was they started with Kingsfield, and
that's
it's
what I'm
kind of like, hey,
talking
this is
about.
kind of cool. Let's just keep going with it. And they just
Yeah,
it's their whole thing has been either pew pews and mech suits or Dark Souls.
it all comes back to this shit here of like lighting the bonfire and doing all that and going on the adventure to become the good savior or the dark lord of Hooty Wuddy
or
land.
the guy that just doesn't give a fuck.
That's what
Let it
that's
all
like.
burn.
That's why I'm like, are they going to end up having like that's why I said, can they keep up on the momentum with that formula? I mean, it's worked all this time. So I'm not saying that people are sick of this stuff or anything, but it's just like how many other games do we have doing the same fucking formula? Are they going to try and switch it up, and is it going to work? That's like that's why I'm like all this conversation is leading to that point of like how many more titles do we see before we start getting burnt out on Souls? I'm not burnt out. I just had my second my second win with Souls games. I want to go. I just beat Dark Souls 1. I want to go and beat Dark Souls 2 now, even though I know it's going to be bad.
Want to?
I mean, Dark Souls. In all honesty, Dark Souls 1's ending was just meh. Like I just didn't care for it whatsoever. It pissed me off
Dark
more than
Souls
anything.
2 is like I
It's
honestly
like
I do not
shit.
remember shit of that game, so I cannot tell you how it ties into it. But if you skip 2 and go to 3, 3 kind of ties more into 1 and Elden Ring than
Hmm.
2 probably ever
Yeah.
did.
I mean, I still say like Bloodborne probably still has the best lore in my book. Of all the stuff that I've seen of Elden Lords and Tarnished and this and that and the other thing, I think the whole like thing of the alien race giving the blood and the church is giving the blood of the alien to the people and turning everybody into a fucking monster and all that stuff because they have the healing effect and
Basically,
it's like
you're Van
holy shit.
Helsing running around,
Yeah,
freaking dealing with an alien
everybody wanted that.
vampire cult.
Everybody always wanted that game, and they delivered it, and it
Like,
was great. It was like shit.
finally
Yeah.
a cult where everybody drank the Kool Aid and something weird happened, and they didn't just
Yeah, and then also
ascend. Okay, well, I mean, in theory, they did ascend, but not the way they wanted to.
the crazy part is too is like the more insight that you have different enemies that appear. So if you have like 20, 30 insight, the game is a totally different experience than if you only have like one or two. Which that's
True.
like holy shit.
I mean, if they want to take something like that and throw it into the next Souls-esque game that they make, that would be kind of oh, there you go. Throw that, just take that thing and throw it in there too. Just throw that right in there. One of the factions is like, well, this faction can see the truth of everything, or like, okay, each faction has their own insight thing.
Oh,
based on which faction you're running through is what you'll see compared to the other ones.
Okay.
There you go.
Okay.
Maybe.
So this is actually something that I said off stream, off video to Viper before, and this is you're bringing up a great segue into that. So to try and wrap this video up, what would you think?
Let's talk.
What would you think? So you have the Elden Ring. George R. R. Martin wrote for Elden Ring. There's this whole thing right here that they had this connection to Elden Ring. Possibly there could be some talking to HBO and all that stuff, which I don't think they need actually to talk to HBO because I think George R. R. Martin owns Game of Thrones license. So if they want to do something maybe a little bit different that is still in their wheelhouse and everything, and I think so Skyrim is still one of the best, or one of the best rated games. I don't think it's the best game ever. I think Skyrim was kind of boring myself. I probably should play back through it again to see. I might like it more now that I'm a little more.
You might like it more.
Yeah, now I'm more into this stuff now. Because
Dragon and Macho Man Randy Savage.
Well, the first time I played it, I just didn't like. I didn't like dungeon games at all. Like I was totally Mass Effect through and through, and like space and shooting and military stuff. So when I played Skyrim, I'm like, I'm running through dungeons doing the same fucking thing over and over and over again. But here's where we'll the final big thought. From Software gets the actual Game of Thrones license, and they take everything from Kingsfield to Elden Ring, and they take all the best parts of that, and then you have your factions would be the families, so you align yourself with the different families and everything, and you're trying to become the Game of Thrones. That's your ultimate goal, is to become the one true leader of the throne, to rule over the lands. Or you can be the bad guy. It fits right in with what they have done a million times over again.
And then you can have like,
you can either piss everyone off and kill them off or something, or you can keep you can bring them all together, so then the land becomes all in peace and everything. And then your darkness, the White Walkers. It would just translate so easily with that. Or they make a game like that, like something, but in that realm right there. You could even bring back Kingsfield and just copy the shit out of all that stuff into Kingsfield, and that would be your
So what you're saying is like your typical like all these five factions want to be the ruler of the lands, but they don't want to unite to defeat. Get this big evil coming through, and they're all like, "Well, fuck the big evil, whatever. I got something better. I got something else to do. I'm not gonna work with you to defeat the big evil. Fuck you. Okay, well, bye. When the big evil comes through, I need help. Oh, remember when you told me to fuck off?
I mean, it seems like it would work so well together, like, right there. And like I said, if they can't get the Game of Thrones license, then just bring back Kingsfield and reboot Kingsfield into a modern day take on it.
Miyazaki from Soft. Yo, here's your next idea. Just put us at the very bottom of the credit reels of
Yeah,
Frostbite. Thank
yeah.
you, Frostbite and Warwolf, for helping with the concept for this. That's all we want. I mean,
Yeah, just a little recognition.
like
Just
we just throw a little threw some direction your way. We're not gonna like, hey, we had that idea. You got to put us in the fucking.
so if anybody
No,
actually made it
hey,
to the
thanks.
if anybody actually made it to the end of this video at the hour mark, then yes, that's the big three. Like I said, Armored Core, Bloodborne remastered by Blue Point, and then the Game of Thrones ish kind of game. There we go. I think that would be the best future for From Software. And then they have a little bit of something that's different for folks if they're getting sick of all the Souls games, and you got also the Souls
Here we
games
go.
for the Souls fans.
Perfect. You got we'll just do three factions, right? You got your medieval goats that are all medieval dudes. You got your Victorian age gothic alien monster hunters, and then you got the mech driving mercenaries that you know they just work for whoever the fuck pays them the most. There you go. Throw all three of them in there.
What if one of those factions was more like a Witcher faction?
That's the Victorian one.
Oh, okay.
There's
All
the
right.
monster hunters.
All right.
Alien
Yeah.
fighting monster
Yeah,
hunters.
that's true. That's true. Yeah. I was thinking like the eyes and all that stuff, like they have to go through Witcher school and all that. I don't know.
That could be the insight thing that only that faction has it, that they can see what's truly
there.
going
There you
on.
go. Yeah. Yep.
That they'll
See?
like have the aliens are actually some alien technology, weird possession crap is actually the controlling the mechs or whatever. Trying to, I don't know, fucking know. Somehow the alien crap
Way
is
out
messing with
here.
everything.
Aliens and mech suits in the middle of medieval times. They're going to be wooden mech suits, though. All made with wood.
No, I mean you can do plate mail crap. I mean theoretically they'd be more of a futuristic faction if we're gonna like not exactly mech suits, like a powered armor
Holy
thing.
shit. Okay, take Game of Thrones. Okay, so
But say
Kingsfield.
that they're really weak against like fucking magic or
If
something.
they did the Kingsfield like thing, take the Game of Thrones vibe, but put it into Victorian era, and then the steampunk thing instead of mech stuff going on, it's steampunk stuff going on. So they have like steampunk army or something. Boom. That's
It's almost
super
like a little bit
different.
of Steel Rising, where you're an automaton.
Yeah. Like like
Okay.
like that could be one of the things that you start off as or whatever. I don't know, like a class there that you start off as. Like that would be so it would stick with the formula that everybody knows, but it'd be so different right there.
Yeah.
And then you're trying
Keep
to.
the keep the okay. It could be a backfire. That could fucking work out. But if you want to be like a specific race, you have to go to that specific faction because that's who they've allied with.
Yeah, I mean, so I can see that.
Until you at least you beat the first playthrough of the game, then you can fucking be whatever fucking
Where
race
my
you want to be with whatever faction.
where my brain goes is like for like player options. I want more player options as a player. So I'd be like, even if so I would have heavy favor with that faction over there, but I don't have to be part of the faction. Just like they would receive me with open arms for that faction, but I could still somewhat I can do good favors for this faction over here, and they won't treat me like an asshole. But these guys over here are gonna love me, and then it just opens up the player option to be
I
able
don't know
to.
if you've ever heard of this D20 game system. It's called Shadowrun. It
Shadowrun. That was a game. They made a game out of it. I don't know if it's the same
yeah
thing.
yeah yeah, but it was some weird freaking capture the flag bullshit game.
Yeah.
Um, it's a kind of futuristic world meets like
Cyberpunk.
meets fantasy.
uh,
So I mean, you get the weird cyberpunk shit where the cybernetic upgrades and all that stuff, but you still got the magic, you got the orcs, the mythical crap.
the mix of
Look, in your spare time, if you guys never heard of Shadowrun, look it up and Take a look at it. See what you think.
There's like one guy in the back going,
Yeah,
yeah.
this guy knows it. Yeah. I played it probably about 2-3 sessions
Hmm.
of like the D20 system of Shadowrun. It was interesting. I even read a book from the series.
Oh god, this is getting
It's a very interesting concept
it's
behind
getting
it.
to a whole different topic now. All right,
Yeah, well,
all right. Well,
that was kind of
we'll wrap
leading
it
in
up
with the
here,
whole
but.
like, how do we do the new Bloodborne shit?
So yeah, I think every time we have a video like this, there's just so many ideas that pop up of like, man, I'd like to see this. We also talk about this stuff all the time off video and on stream and
Creative
everything.
crap
But
in there and
it's
fucking,
like, so yeah, I guess at the end of the day, it's just gonna be super interesting to see what the hell From Software does. They could have some haters come out of the Armored Core thing. They might have even more fan base that never cared for the Souls vibe. That's just sees the logo now and is just like, I love From Software all of a sudden. It could be
100%.
so.
There's gonna be all the people who are like, we wanted another Bloodborne or Souls.
Oh, there already is. There already is. That's
buying that game. Then they're gonna see everybody enjoying it, and they're gonna be like, well, maybe this game still fucking sucks.
How dare you like it? No, you're supposed to be the Bloodborne thing. You have a shirt of it.
The game's pretty cool, but it's not Dark Souls. It needs to be Dark Souls.
I might like there's a good chance Armored Core comes out and I'm gonna be in that boat of like, I don't like this. Like there's a good chance that's gonna happen with me also. If it's just like the older Armored Core games, I'm just like, like that's just give me another fucking Souls game. I might very well be in that party with that side of things.
This guy right here. Got on my screen, he's over there. This guy right here, he's gonna be the guy that's gonna be like, fuck this game. He picks it up because fucking tank controls. Fuck that shit. I'm done. I want my money back.
I don't think it's gonna have tank controls. I really don't think so. That
would honestly be really nice that we have both sticks to look and move. Because I mean, I grabbed Duck Station and picked up Armored Core 3 or something like that. I played it. I'm like, I'm here trying to turn with my left stick, my right stick, and I'm like, oh, that's right. You got to do you. Oh,
yeah. The control system on Armored Cores back in the day was not good.
Tank control for 2 sticks. Tank control on 2 sticks is good. Tank control on 1 stick is horrendous.
All they gotta do, and because they can still have weight to it and everything. I got into this discussion in a stream already. I'm like, all they gotta do is either copy Titanfall or Anthem, depending on the size of your mech. Titanfall had great feeling mech gameplay in it. Yes, it's a power suit, but still, it's like mech power suit, whatever. It's still the same, that weighted feel on it, where the left analog stick should be for your feet. The right analog stick should be for your camera up here, not your lock-on camera, but your actual like swing camera. And then R3 to lock on to the opponent. Then you're getting in that Souls vibe right there. And then your stamina system is how much you're overheating, which is already there in Armored Core. Like that's part of the Armored Core thing right there. It was funny because that video that we were going to make before Armored Core 6 got announced, and I was saying all this stuff. When I went to go, now that I've actually played Armored Core, I'm like, oh, a lot of that stuff is actually there. So yeah, it's like I said, that's definitely it's.
I should have said shit because now we're gonna be on here for like the next 3 hours.
Yeah. Well, no, we're gonna wrap up. So we might be back again very soon with another video. Who knows? There's been a chat about From Software. I think it's gonna be. From Software, they're not going to have any problems selling games as long as that logo's on there. It's going to sell very well. It's like Capcom or something. It's just this conversation is not about like trashing one series or another or any of that stuff. If that's what you're getting from it, no. This is just like the question of like, what are they going to be doing in the future? That's all That's all this video is supposed to be a discussion on. Is like, brainstorming ideas of like what would be really cool. If anybody from Software just so happens to click on this video and see it, hopefully you get inspired by a couple of these ideas too. And outside of that, yeah, go check out the YouTube channels of both me and Frostbites. Like, subscribe, share everything. The views, the numbers, anything you do, interact with the channels definitely helps out an absolute shit ton. Also Twitch, go follow over there too, so you can see whenever we go live. So yeah, that's gonna do it. We're gonna wrap it up, and we'll be back maybe in the very near future, possibly do another video or something. But thanks for tuning in. Thanks for stopping by, and as always, I will see ya next time.